Hello and welcome to another beginner's piano lesson here at LearnPianoLive.com. This is a beginner's lesson, so the assumption is you know nothing about piano. You don't know the letters, you don't know how to read music, you don't know any chords. If that's you, you're in the right place. We're starting at the very, very, very basics. So really the keys to this lesson is to ask a whole lot of questions. This is you and me, so you got to ask whatever questions you have so that I, as your teacher, can help you out and know what you need. Now, if you are an absolute beginner, you might want to check out the Absolute Beginners Lesson Pack in the video store, because that'll kind of walk you through some of the very, 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 very basics that most beginning piano students have. It's free. Just go check it out in the video store. And there's a couple other things too that I want to talk to you about before this countdown clock hits 0. All right, first and most important, ask a lot of questions. The way that you're going to do that is there's a couple different ways. You can jump in the chat room and talk with the other students who are logged in at the same time. I'll be watching the chat room too. You ask your questions there, or if it's a question that's just for me, a question about the lesson, especially if you know it's one that's going to fit best at the question and answer time at the end, then you can just put your name and your question in the box below this video, click submit, and then I will get that. Now, if you're already in the archives, if you're watching this not live, but you're watching this in the archives, then make sure at the end of the lesson you click on the survey button. You don't have to fill out the entire survey. If you want to, I'd love your feedback, but really the best part of that is that you can put your question in there, and then we click submit. Then I will get all of your questions. I'll make sure that you get them answered, whether you're in the archives or you're live. Right next to this video, there should be a PDF button and an MP3 button. Now, you don't really need those till after the lesson because I'm going to be showing you on screen the PDF and showing you how to use it. And I'll play the MP3 during the lesson too, so you know at the end of the lesson how you're going to use that. Some people, though, like to print out the PDF ahead of time, so as I'm making notes on my version, they can make the same notes on their version, but it works either way. All right, this is perhaps the most important part. You need to leave the lesson when you feel like you're sufficiently challenged. So, I'm teaching these lessons, 12 to 15 lessons a month. Normally in traditional lessons, you're getting like a lesson every other week or so. So this is just way too much for you to take in. So, the goal is for you to get some little nugget of something that you can really practice on, really work on. Once you feel like you have that, then you really don't need anything else from me. Go practice. That's where this stuff is really gonna happen. You're not going to get through this lesson and be able to play something really well. You're going to get through this lesson and have the information that you need to practice more effectively. That's really the goal here. So don't feel bad about taking off early. If you feel like halfway through the lesson you got as much as you can take in at that time, then go practice that thing, and then come back whenever you've got that thing down, or you're bored with it, or you just want to check out the next topic. Don't forget also that you've got the archives too. So if you want to see one little thing, just repeat it over and over and over. Just give me, hopefully within 24 hours after the lesson, this thing will be up in the archives, so you can just go back and watch it over and over and over and over and just get that little segment down. All right, today we're doing everybody's favorite topic. Out of the 8 sectors of musicianship, the one that everybody always likes the most is application. That's where you finally actually get to play a song. So if you've been here for the last couple weeks, you'll notice a lot of the same concepts popping up today, because we're going to take those concepts, we're going to apply them to a very specific song. If you haven't been here, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to play all of our little concepts. So hopefully at the end of today's lesson, you'll have all the tools to practice an actual real song that you can play for your friends and impress them. Let's go. Lies, lies, lies. It's all lies, my friends. Welcome. Today, we're doing the song I'm Still Standing because it was requested, and it actually lined up nicely with the kids lesson. And so then we got into the kids lesson, all good. And then I started working on the adults version of it and realized, holy cow, I haven't paid attention to this song before. There's a lot of chords in here, and none of them are pretty nice little easy chords. So all you've got today is just the chords. We're going to try to walk through these chords, and this might be a terrible song for beginners. This might not have been a good idea, but we'll find out. If nothing else, you'll walk away with a couple new chords to practice, and for some of you, we might not ever get this song like down, or at least not for a while. You might have to leave it and come back to it, in a year or two after you've done some other stuff. But I know the intermediate and advanced students always like it when they get really tough stuff. So this will be a stretch for us all. On top of having a bunch of really weird chords, it's also really fast. So I guarantee you will come out of this with something that you didn't have before, but I can't guarantee that we will be able to play the whole thing along with whoever that, it's Taron Egerton. I don't know. That's a dude apparently who sang the song. So anyway, if you would like the kids version, if you were here before when we handed out the kids version of the song to the adults and you like that, then let me know. I'll send that over to you, even if you don't have a kids subscription, because that actually you could play all the way through, no matter what level you are. Let's jump in. Let's try this thing. So here's the song in case you haven't heard it before. Maybe that doesn't seem too intimidating to you. It's kind of crazy. Let's jump into it. So each of these chords here, first thing, when you see a little M next to the chord, that means minor. So on all of the minor chords, they're going to have a minor sound. Now, this might be the most helpful thing of the lesson. Let me just show you how to build a minor chord, any minor chord in the entire universe. It's always exactly the same. So to build a minor chord, all you're going to do is take the root. In this case, the root of the chord is B flat, because B flat is the name of the chord. It's B flat minor. So you just rip the minor off of it, and whatever came before that, that is the minor that you're doing. So right here, we have an E flat minor. We rip the minor off of it. E flat would be our root. So this note is an E flat. This note is a B flat, depending on which chord we want to build. Let's build the B flat minor first, since that's what we started with. You're just going to take the root, and then you're going to count up half steps. So half steps it's really easy concept, but sometimes people get tripped up on it because of the black and white notes. It's just the next note over. That's a half step. So from here, the next note over is that one. From there, the next note over is that one. From there, the next note over is that one. From there, the next note over is that one. So if you took your hand all the way up into the black notes in that territory, if you just went one over each time, these are all half steps. It's just confusing if you're down in this range in here, because then sometimes you have to go up and sometimes you just go straight over. So it's just one note over. So to make a minor chord, we're just going to take our root. That's the first note of the chord. And then we're going to go 3 half steps up from there. So 1, 2, 3. That's the second note of the chord. There's just going to be 3 notes in the chord. So nothing too terrible. So root plus 3. And then after that, you're going to go from that note up 4 half steps. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, bam, that's our chord. That's a B flat minor. So I have given you all of the chords, come on the next page. So the B flat minor, it shows you right here. This is what it would look like if it was on sheet music. That's all the, sorry, you don't have that. Let's zoom in and check the tablet. There we go. So, oh crud, you didn't see any of that. Man, what a loser, what a loser. All right. So back to here. That's what I was looking at before. Hopefully you already printed out your PDF, so you have that there in front of you, or you are screaming at your computer. Why don't you just teach the lesson right, dude? So then we're going to take a root. Like I said, go up 3 half steps and then go up 4 after that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is our B flat minor chord, because this is the B flat. My goodness. No minor. And then that's our E flat. We take the minor off of it just to find out what the root is. So if we want to build a B flat minor, we got to take the minor off. I'm trying to go back and restate this stuff, now with the tablet that you should have had all along. So then the B flat minor, E flat minor, we'll play the E flat minor in just a second. So that's one way to do it, is to just find the note of the chord that you're trying to play, and then go up 1, 2, 3 half steps, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. Bam, that's your chord. But on the next page, fortunately, I was having a hard time here with this and was alerted to the fact that, yeah, we didn't have a tablet there for you. So these are all the notes as they would appear on the lines and spaces called sheet music. So that's a B flat, D flat, and F, B flat, D flat, and F. And then here's another set of B flat and D flat and F, B flat, D flat, F. And here is another set of B flat and D flat and F. And then here's just a lone F by itself. So basically you can use any B flat and any D flat and any F. B flat, D flat, F, B flat, D flat, B flat, D flat, F. Any of these, as long as you put 3 of those together, you'll have the entire chord, the B flat minor chord. So that thing right there, just playing all the sets of B flats and D flats and Fs, that's called inversions. So that might be like a great thing for you to work on right there, is just the inversions. If that made sense to you and you've never done that before, then perhaps see you later. Go work on that one. But that's the arpeggios. So that way when we zoom out, here we go, then you can see all of these are different ways of playing the B flat minor chord. That's all your B flat minor chords, almost all of them, down to like this range right here. So all your B flat minor chords all the way through. And that's really kind of an advanced skill. Once you have that down and you're able to do that with all of the chords that are listed, goodness gracious, these are all the chords that are listed. Then that's a huge, like, then you're actually like playing. If we go back to here, we go, I forget what those chords are. Here we go. We go back to here and we go. Like all that stuff is just each of those chords, but in different inversions to make it feel bigger and fuller and like it's moving in a certain direction. Okay, so that's inversions. That's also how to build minor chords, root plus 3 plus 4 half steps. And then after that, let's build this E flat, that the E flat minor chord that I promised. Now, in case I wasn't clear about this, the E flat minor chord is the actual chord that we're building, but in order to find out what the root is, then you take off the minor part. So the only point in taking off the minor is to find out what the exact root is, because here's what a lot of other people do, and maybe you already did or you're about to do in the future, and they go E flat minor. Okay, so we start on an E, and then they start to build their chord, but they've started with the wrong root, because the root of an E flat minor is not E. The root of an E flat minor is E flat. Got it? Cool. So make sure you start with the right note. So the E flat minor chord is going to start with the E flat, and then it's going to go up 3 half steps. So go ahead and do that before I do, to make sure you can do this on your own. 1, 2, 3 half steps would land you, bam, right there on that one. So up 1, 2, 3 half steps, and then 4 half steps on top of that would land you where? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you beat me to that note, and you got that as your E flat minor chord. Or perhaps you just cheated and looked at the next page and went, E flat minor is E flat and G flat and B flat. Also looks like that. If you want the scary, terrible version of it, that's the E flat minor chord, which is all E flats, G flats, ooh, there you go. E flats, G flats, and B flats all together. So that right there is the beginning of the song. If you have B flat minor, E flat minor. And then you need 3 more chords just to get through the first line of the song. Did I already mention that this is a really fast, really, really complicated song? So the next chord is going to be an F, but before we deal with the F, let's deal with this guy right here. So that slash chord. I just realized today in putting the PDF together, I hadn't realized this before, and none of you complained about it, and I love it when you complain. So if you see something that is funky in any of these lessons, please let me know, because it's only there because I didn't see the funkiness about it, and neither did anybody else yet. So that slash right there is different from this slash right here. I've been teaching you all about chords and using slashes in 2 different ways. So in this case, I'm talking about a G flat, which is the same thing as an F sharp. That's a G flat, and that's also an F sharp. So it's the same exact note. So that's what that one means. That one means or. And I won't be using that anymore, that slash. I'll be using the word or, hopefully in the future, so we get rid of all those other slashes, because slash in music actually means a real thing. This right here, this slash, E flat minor slash B flat, means that your left hand is going to play a B flat. Now, almost always, your left hand would play the single note that is the root of the chord. So on that B flat minor chord, your left hand would just play a regular B flat, or maybe a couple B flats, if you really wanted it to be big and bulky and powerful there. So B flat would be what you would play there. No reason on a B flat chord to play something else. It's all gonna sound pretty terrible unless you're playing the root of the chord. Unless you've got a slash. So the slash means over, as in like a fraction, something over something else. So this is the lower part, so that is something, you've got some other chord over that. So this is the lower part of the fraction. So that's what they want your left hand to play, and then this is what they want your right hand to play. So right hand would play the E flat minor, like that, which I would probably invert. I would play this B flat down here, since we were already playing a B flat minor chord, and perhaps you're not even with me anymore. Perhaps you have already gone off to practice because you found that thing that you need to work on. But in case you're still with me, that's the E flat that I'm playing. I know the B flat is the lowest note right now, and so it looks like it might be a B flat, but it's not. It's an E flat, a G flat, and a B flat, and that in any order is an E flat chord. So I'm going to use that one because it's easier to get to from my B flat to E flat. And then in your left hand, they want you to keep this B flat right here. You might remember from older lessons that we've talked about pedal tones. This song is a perfect example of pedal tones, where you just have a bunch of changing chords, but you've got one note that just kind of hangs on the whole time down here. So this is going to be B flat minor to E flat minor over B flat. Don't change this thing to E flat. Otherwise it would sound like, which doesn't sound terrible, but this is what really the sound that they were going for at the beginning of the song. And then we've got an F chord, and this does not have a little M on it, so that means that it is going to be a major chord, not a minor chord. So to build a major chord, all you're gonna do is take your root, which is the exact same way that you found your root. Man, I gotta learn how to write an R in English. R, there we go. That looks terrible. So you're gonna take your root, and you're going to build on top of that. In this case, it's an F. You're going to build on top of your F 4 half steps and then 3. So it's the exact same thing as your minor chord, but backwards. Root plus 4 plus 3 instead of root plus 3 plus 4. The 3 plus 4, this was the minor. And this one right here, 4 plus 3, that is the major. So hopefully you are busy at work while I stall and try to not give you the answer on this chord yet. You've got a root plus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then plus 3 on top of that. Hopefully you beat me there. 1, 2, 3. That is your F chord, F, A, C, and of course you could have just cheated and looked on the next page, which would have told you right there that an F chord is an F and an A and a C, or on the on sheet music, it's any of these, F and A and C and F and A and C and F and A and C and F, and we ran out of room. So there you go. That's all of your F chord. And once again, they want you to play this all over B flat. In fact, every single one of these chords here, there we go, over B flat. B flat right here is over B flat because it's a B flat, and what you're going to play in your left hand is B flat when it's time for B flat, because B flat's the root of B flat. Okay, cool. So that one hopefully made sense. And then right here, they want you to play a different chord but over B flat, and then a different chord but over B flat, and then a different chord over B flat, and then a different chord over B flat. So you could get rid of all of those and just know that that left hand's not moving from B flat. It's going to stay right here, or right here, or both, while your right hand plays a B flat minor chord, an E flat minor chord, an F chord, or an F chord, and then a G flat chord, and then an A flat chord, and then back to B flat minor. B flat minor, E flat minor, F, G flat, A flat, B flat minor, E flat minor, F, G flat, A flat, Then actually after that, you're gonna go to a B flat, and you'll notice this one is missing the M because someone screwed up, or they want you to play a major chord there. And unfortunately, it is the second one. So right there, that's gonna be a B flat major. Before we were playing this chord right here, but B flat major is gonna be root plus 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 1, 2, 3. Now you may have noticed that when I switch this chord from minor to the major, there's only one note that changes, and that whole thing is that note right there. So if you already have a minor chord, you can make the major chord by just taking that middle note and dragging it up one. Or if you already have a major chord and you want a minor chord, you can take that middle note and drag it down one, and you'll always come up with the other one. The major is the one with the raised 3, and the minor is the one with the lowered 3. We call this middle note the 3 of the chord for reasons we don't want to get into. But this is the 1, the 3, and the 5. Okay, maybe that might have given away the answer for some of you. So anyway, that's our B flat major. And then we've got E flat major, because there's no little M on it, and then an F, and then a B flat. So it's very similar to the intro, except that now all of those minor chords have become major. And that's going to sound, along with the track, a little something like this. E flat minor, F, G flat, A flat, B flat major, E flat major, F, B flat, C minor 7, E flat, C minor. I can't call them out and play them with him. So that is the beginning of that, and my goodness, if you can get any of that at all, if you get that intro part down, that would be miraculous, because it's just a ridiculous jungle of white notes and black notes being thrown at you at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So that is some tough stuff there, but had enough requests on it apparently that either we both didn't understand how difficult this song was going to be, or you just felt like you could tackle it, and maybe we could get this one down. So tomorrow and the day after, I'll be giving you like the fuller version of it. Technically we're supposed to do the theory of it and then covering it. And so for the intermediate and the advanced students, I will do that. But I will also try to grow this for you if you want to come back tomorrow and dig into some more of this stuff. There's a bunch of other chords in there. For right now, I would recommend anywhere there's a 7, you can just rip the 7 off, and it will still sound like the exact same thing. So like right here, we have a C minor 7. If you just get rid of that 7, then you have a C minor. If you play a C minor there over B flat down here, C minor right here, then you'll be set. That 7 is just an extra 4th decorative note on the chord. You've already got 3 notes here. They want you to play an additional B flat on the chord that you don't have to have, because that and that sound almost exactly the same. So it won't sound wrong at all if you just rip all of the 7s off all of the chords. I've got them there for tomorrow's people, because we're going to talk about 7s and why we use 7s and what role they play and all that stuff. But for you all, rip off all of the 7s and give a swing, take a swing at these ones. I do want to. You don't give a swing, you take a swing. Yeah, don't give a swing, take your swing. So then this G flat major 7 right here is just going to be a regular G flat major chord, actually, just regular happy major chord G flat. That MAJ 7 all has to do with the 7 there. I think that was the only one of those. The rest of them, you just take off the 7s. And that's a lot. That's a whole friggin' ton. Let's do our wrap up, and then hopefully you're throwing your questions in the box below the video, and we'll get to those in just a minute. So what did we talk about? First of all, we talked about how at the beginning of the lesson you need to make sure that the tablet is viewable to all of the students, so that you're not yapping on and on about stuff that they can't see. And then we talked about how a minor chord is a root plus 3 plus 4. So now you can build any minor chord from here till forever. there's only 4 types of chords, and really only 2 of them ever get used, major chords and minor chords. After that, all you have is a diminished chord and an augmented chord that almost never get used. So if you can build major chords and minor chords, that's like almost every song that we're ever going to play. You know how to find the root, you know how to find the minor chord, you know how to find the major chord, you're set. That's really all you need. So I talk about how to build your own minor chords. You don't need my stupid charts anymore. You can keep your stupid charts, Jamin. Just tell me what I need to build. I can find the chord, all right? Then you switch them around for the major chords. So it's root plus 4 plus 3. Or if you want to, you can just take the middle note of the minor chord and raise it a half step, and you'll come up with a major chord. Or vice versa, take the middle note of a major chord and lower it a half step. Now, I do need to point out here, and this might confuse some of you. It's not a huge point, but for some of you who this makes sense for example, on the B flat minor chord, this thing right here, if we take the middle note and we drag it up, then we come up with a major chord. Now, this is the middle note. This is the root of the chord. This is the 3. This is the 5. Now, if we invert this thing, if we put this in a different position, instead of playing the B flat here, if we put the B flat here, it's still the root of the chord. This is still the root, and this is still the 3, and this is still the 5. So in this case, you wouldn't want to take the middle note, which is the 5, and move it around. That's not going to get you where you want. If you want a B flat major chord, you got to take the 3 of the chord, which in this inversion is the lowest note, and raise the 3. This is a B flat major chord. This is a B flat minor chord. So before I said the middle note, it's not really necessarily true, but I probably didn't have to say that because most beginners who that doesn't make sense for aren't inverting their chords anyway. They're just playing everything in root position. So in root position, where the root is the lowest note, that 3 is always the middle note. So as long as the 3 is the middle note, then you're totally safe. Or the sentences that I've been saying recently haven't made any sense to you at all, and that's perfectly fine too. Just take that middle note and raise it a half step, and it'll sound just fine. And if it doesn't, then email me and let me know, show me what you're doing, and I will explain to you why in your case it's different. But it should be just a-okay, perfectly fine. So we talked about how to build major and minor chords. We talked a little bit about sheet music and how the on any chord, it's really that set of notes throughout the whole entire piano, and how playing these things, these arpeggios or these inversions, eventually singing the chord throughout the entire piano is a really helpful, useful thing in playing bigger, fuller sounds. And I think that's all we talked about. There was a lot of effort talking about how terrible and scary this song is. But if you want the kids' version again, I can give you that, and you'll definitely be able to play this song within at least a few hours of practice. You'd be able to play the melody for it the way that they do in the kids' lessons. And if you don't know what in the world I'm talking about, or you're new to Learn Piano Live and you haven't been here when we gave out the kids' lessons before, then just ask me what in the world I'm talking about, and I will do my best, as always, to explain it to you. Let's get to your questions. First of all, let's do that one. Raise the third of the minor chord and what? So then if you take, for example, the B flat minor chord and you raise the third, yes, okay, so you take the third of the minor chord and you raise it a half step. That is now the major chord, because we talked about, and I hope this was not before I turned on the tablet at the beginning of the lesson, how right here you've got a B flat minor chord, and then a little bit later you've got a B flat major chord. So you have both versions of the B flat chord in there. So just a quicker way to get to a B flat major chord instead of reconstructing the whole thing, root plus 4 half steps plus 3 half steps, is just take that chord that you already know, the B flat minor, if you already know that. Now, if you don't already know that, that's not helpful at all to you. That's just an extra step. But if you already know, I've got that B flat chord from before, the B flat minor, but now I need a B flat major chord, you just take the 3 and you raise it, and then that turns into, ta-da, that's your B flat major chord. So hopefully that makes some sense. If not, let me know. What are other chords for this song? So these chords should be all of the chords that you need for the whole entire thing. We didn't go through each of them individually. Hopefully they, all of the chords that you need are on these 2 pages. So there's nothing else that I'm leaving out. We didn't play all of the ones that are on the chart, but there's a ton of them. I'm guessing that for 95% of us, just getting the intro down is like plenty of work for at least a month or 2. Just getting the... Honestly, if you could get that much down, like that's impressive right there. You could just loop that, and that would impress your friends until they were bored with you, you know? And at that point, they're going to believe you know how to play the piano. And then you can interrupt yourself. Oh, what was that? Huh? Oh, yeah, and then... move on, change subjects. I don't know. There's a lot of songs like that, Furelise and junk, where you just need a little snippet of it. You don't need the whole thing. But I know some of you want to play the whole thing. We'll get there. We'll get to the whole thing. Okay. Next one. How do I request a song? I almost like you did. You just say, hey, I want to do this song. And I put it on the list, and I've got a whole list of songs that have been requested. And when either we are out of requested songs or there are enough people that request it that it's at the top of the list, then we do those songs. So just like email me, hey, I want to do this song, and either we can do it separately together, you and I, or we could do it in a lesson if there are other people who want to do that song. So send your requests along. However, you can contact me. I think most of you have my cell phone number, and you've got my email address, and you got the website. So, and if you're in Sacramento, it's pretty easy to look me up too. I had foolishly put my home address on all kinds of websites. So, easy to stalk right here. Don't have the face for it, but I definitely have the address on the internet for it. What's the difference between, like, for example, A sharp and a B flat, or a D sharp and a E flat, or any other sharps and flats that seem to sound the same? What am I doing wrong? Oh. Okay, so then the difference between the A sharp and the B flat, or with the one we did, was F sharp and G flat. So these are called enharmonic equivalents. It's that's the fancy college word for 2 different names for the same note. That's the note. The 2 different names are G flat and F sharp, enharmonic equivalents. So then, they're the same exact thing. There is no difference. You would name them different things in different contexts. Sometimes I refer to my wife as mommy when I'm talking to my kids. Sometimes I call her babe when I'm talking to her. So it's just 2 different names for literally the same exact note. Same person, different context. And why you would call it G flat versus F sharp is the question that I just put in your mind. So that was stupid of me, because I'm not going to explain that here. But they're all stupid. They're all stupid reasons. It's as dumb as you would think it is. It's the same note. So if you see a G flat chord and you accidentally play an F sharp, it sounds exactly the same. They are the same chord. As far as what you're doing wrong, I don't know. Be more truthful with your friends is my best guess. I don't know what you're doing wrong. Show me what you're doing that you think is wrong, or tell me, and I will explain what's going on there. But if you're just talking about like you're playing G flat chords when it's time for an F sharp or something like that, then that should sound just fine. Which is why on this next page, I put this thing right here, that slash, which will turn into that or. That G flat is the same exact thing as an F sharp, so you can't mess up if you're playing an F sharp or a G flat. They're literally the exact same thing. In fact, when I pulled a lot of these chords off of the internet, it was all in sharps. So it was calling like this chord an A sharp minor, which is just a nightmare for reasons I'll explain another time, to try to like name those notes the A sharp minor chord. So I renamed them all with flats and changed them around for you. So it was hopefully easier to read. All right. I think that's it. That looks like all of our questions. And we didn't switch over to the Q&A time. But yeah, whatever. I love you. And until next time, Good luck, have fun. Does our outro work? Oh yeah, kinda. All right.